Good day, Honors Biology students. Welcome to Video Lecture Episode 9. Today we're continuing our discussion in Chapter 11, Section 2. Last time we were together, we finished off with sex determination, just talking about how 22 of the 23 pairs are considered autosomes, that is body cells, where it's just one pair that is referred to as the sex cells, the gametes. Alright, so let's go to slide 48. We'll talk about dosage compensation. Human males have 22 pairs of autosomes and one X and one Y, XY. Human females have 22 pairs of autosomes and have one pair of X chromosomes, that is just XX. Now, looking at the figure on slide 49 on the right-hand side, figure 11.9, you'll notice, looking at it, that the X chromosome is considerably larger than the Y chromosome, or at least it looks like that way, right? The X chromosome carries a variety of genes that are necessary for the development of both males and females. All right. Now, the Y chromosome mainly has genes that relate to development of male characteristics. Since females have two X's, right? One might think, hey, is the female getting a double dose of X chromosome since the males only have one? Well, let's talk about why that isn't the case. The reason it isn't the case is, in fact, one of the X chromosomes stops working via what we call X inactivation. This X inactivation is dosage compensation, which occurs in all mammals, not just humans. All right. Now, if you look at slide 52, it has the image from slide 51, but just zoomed in a little bit larger so you can see what we mean by that exactly. Now, let's get into a subset of dosage compensation called chromosome inactivation. That's on slide 53. Okay, chromosome inactivation is the cause of the color of the calico cat's coat. Now, if you look at slide 53, you'll see what a calico cat looks like on the right-hand side of that slide. The orange patches are formed by the inactivation of the allele for black coat fur, which is pretty cool. Now, who discovered this? How do we know about this? Well, let's do a little bit of history. Let's look into something called Barb bodies. The inactive X chromosome can be observed in cells. Murray Barr, a Canadian scientist in 1949, observed inactive X chromosomes in female calico cats. And if you look on slide 54, you see a picture of the gentleman. Notice here, the bottom image, he's standing next to President Kennedy. We also know that, of course, he is from Canada, so we have his flag represented there. So let's talk a little bit more about what he noticed. Well, what he noticed is a condensed, darkly stained structure in the nucleus. This darkly stained, condensed structure in the nucleus is the inactivated X chromosome. Now, if you look at the image on slide 55 on the right-hand side, you'll see what I'm meaning, and there's actually a pointing out of where that inactivated X chromosome portion is, the Barb body, so to speak. Now, these structures were named Barb bodies, and they are only found in females. Hence, if you just in the genetics, you know you have a female cat. Now, let's move on to slide 56. All right, slide 56. Let's get into sex-linked traits. There are some traits which are controlled by genes located on the X chromosome. The traits are called sex-linked traits, X-linked traits. Kind of some names you'll hear for them. All right. Since males only have one X chromosome, they are affected more by recessive X-linked traits than females, as females have, remember, two X chromosomes, as indicated on the image on slide 57. Slide 58 just shows you a little example of a pedigree there, just so you can see what we mean by that. Let's move on to slide 59 now. There are traits on the autosomes which can be mistaken for being sex-linked. So there are some that can be mistaken. One such is baldness. It is recessive in females and dominant in males. Hence, if males have the allele, they will end up bald, where females will only be bald if they are homozygous recessive. Keep that in mind. Now let's talk about one other trait. We've mentioned this before, but we'll walk back into this and talk a little bit more about it. And that's red-green color blindness, a trait we briefly mentioned as we opened this section. Red-green color blindness is a sex-linked trait. In the United States, about 8% of males have this condition. Okay. Figure 11.12, which is seen on slide 61, shows how a person with red-green color blindness would see the trees in a forest in fall time. Notice the picture on the right, which is what the red-green color blindness person sees. There is no red, and the green is somewhat faded. Just take a look at that, just to see what it would be like to be in their shoes, so to speak, seeing. Now, the Punnett Square, which is part of figure 11.2, which is seen on slide 62, gives an example where the mother is a carrier for color blindness and the father is not. How many children will be colorblind according to this Punnett Square? Think about that question. You can answer if you want in the comments below. Have a nice day, and I do hope this lecture has been helpful for you today. Thank you.